For the first time, the Emilia Romagna Grand Prix features on the Formula One calendar, but the venue is a familiar name in F1 history, the Imola circuit. Officially, the Autodromo Internazionale Enzo Dino Ferrari. Yeah, if you fancy running out of breath, was last on F1's books in 2006 before it was quietly dropped for the following year. Here's your guide to F1's return to the Italian circuit. Imola was built in 1953 and used for a few non-championship races, but it didn't appear on the F1 calendar officially until 1980, when it hosted the Italian Grand Prix, the only time that the Grand Prix wasn't hosted at Monza. Since then, Imola remained on the calendar as the San Marino Grand Prix, borrowing the name from the landlocked principality over an hour's drive away. However, the name has not returned with the circuit, and the Emilia Romagna title refers to the region of Italy that the Imola circuit sits within. At least it's a little bit closer. Over the years, Imola has undergone a few changes, with chicanes sprouting and disappearing seemingly at will, but the tight and technical overall layout has remained pretty familiar. Today, the circuit is 4.909 kilometres or 3.05 miles in length, with 21 officially listed corners, although Formula One has taken a somewhat loose interpretation of what a corner entails. Nelson Piquet won F1's first championship race at Imola in 1980, drafted onto the calendar as Monza was being refurbished. San Marino then applied for a race on Imola's behalf to remain on the calendar, and Piquet followed up his win at the circuit with a repeat victory in 81. Having taken the late-season Italian GP slot for its first race, Imola was moved to early May for 1981 and would usually be the first European round in the following seasons. In those early years, the Tamburello corner, the flat-out sweeping left-hander that started the lap, was particularly fierce. Piquet crashed heavily at the corner in 87 during practice thanks to a tyre failure, and he had to miss the race. Gerhard Berger infamously crashed there amid a blaze of fire in 1989 as his front wing failed on the run into Tamburello and miraculously only missed one race as the marshals extricated him from his burning Ferrari. And of course, in 1994, Ayrton Senna lost his life at Tamburello in perhaps F1's darkest weekend, in which Rubens Barrichello was hospitalised on the Friday in a crash at the Variante Bassa, and Roland Ratzenberger was killed on a Saturday morning after a front wing failure at the Villeneuve corner. Well, since then, Tamburello was changed to a lower speed chicane to make it far safer, as was the following Villeneuve corner. Damon Hill took an emotional victory in a damp 1995 race for Williams, with whom Senna had driven the previous year. Williams was a force to be reckoned with at Imola in mid-1990s. Hill won again in 1996, and his replacement, Heinz-Harald Frentzen, took his first ever win in 1997. But from 1999 onwards, it was a Schumacher circuit. Michael secured 2 victories for Ferrari before his brother Ralph took Williams' first win for 4 years. In the 2001 Grand Prix, the team's first with BMW power. Michael won the next 3 Imola races, and although the 2005 Ferrari wasn't a factor in the title hunt, he pushed Fernando Alonso all the way to the finish in a thrilling race between the two. A physical changing of the guard moment in F1's history. Schumacher won Imola's last race in F1 before it came off the calendar for refurbishment at the end of 2006, and although the circuit's owners have eyed up a return, Imola wasn't in the running, at least until 2020 happened, and the calendar became far more improvisational. Only Kimi Räikkönen has raced around Imola in an F1 car, but both AlphaTauri drivers Pierre Gasly and Daniel Kvyat tested there earlier this season, given the circuit is about 10 minutes down the road from the team's Faenza base. Lewis Hamilton raced at Imola in 2006 in his GP2 title year, and several drivers have experience of the circuit from its sporadic appearances on the F3 calendar, including Max Verstappen, Esteban Ocon, Lance Stroll, Antonio Giovinazzi, George Russell, and Nicholas Latifi. Lando Norris has experience of Imola from his Italian F4 races, while for others the addition of Imola will be an entirely new experience. The lap begins with a relatively short run to turn 1, Tamburello, for the left-right-left chicane that should bunch the cars up before getting on the power towards the Villeneuve corner. This should give the drivers a chance to capitalise on any side-by-side action emerging from the first corner, before then dropping the speed for the left-right Villeneuve corner. There's grass and gravel either side here, so, much like Mugello, any mistakes here will be punished immediately. Tosa, a tight uphill left-hander, is next, and the drivers will be climbing over each other in lap 1 to make up positions, so expect to see a few drivers get hung out to dry on the outside of the corner. Then it's a little more uphill as you veer right as the circuit flows towards the left-handed Piratella before the track drops down to Acque Minerali, a double right-hander that sits in a little dip. There's a small camber that allows the driver to take a little speed through it, and then it's straight back on the power uphill for the Variante Alta. A short, sharp, right-left chicane that precedes a steady descent towards Rivazza. Hopefully the drivers will be able to grab a slipstream here and then mount an assault into Rivazza's double left. The second corner then opens out into the final blast of the line, and unlike the past versions of Imola, there's no chicanes, so the run should be flat on the exit. With a high downforce package, the cars should be topping out on the accelerator just before they get to Tamburello. With a DRS run, this can open the circuit up during the race to some overtaking. The tight and technical middle part of the lap may be hard to follow on, but being able to stick close to the car ahead can yield rewards on the flat-out sections. Surrounding the circuit is the town of Imola itself and a series of greenery and foliage, something that you just don't get at a modern F1 circuit. Imola is a real old-school circuit, and it'll be interesting to see how it copes with modern F1.